The wind howled across the desolate plains of Montana, carrying with it an eerie hum that no human ear had heard in millennia. Beneath the rolling hills, deep within the earth's forgotten veins, something ancient stirred. It had been centuries since anyone had walked these lands with reverence. Yet the gods were restless. Far above, the town of Blackwater lay shrouded in an unusual mist. Its residents chalked it up to the harsh winter, but there was an unease in the air. Lights flickered erratically, and the animals grew restless. At the edge of town, near the old library, Dr. Evelyn Carter adjusted her scarf against the biting cold. She stood at the entrance of an excavation site, her boots crunching against the frost-covered ground. The team had unearthed fragments of something extraordinary, a temple. It didn't belong to any known civilization of the Americas. "What do you think this is?" asked James Reynolds, her colleague, as he dusted off a piece of carved stone. The intricate symbols resembled none of the ancient scripts they had studied before. Evelyn hesitated. "It's something else. Look at this." She held up a shard depicting figures with halos of fire, wings of light, and eyes like the night sky. "These aren't human." As the team worked late into the evening, their floodlights pierced the darkness, illuminating the full entrance of the temple. It was massive, a grand archway carved into the side of the hill. The carvings on the door seemed to shimmer as if alive. "Be careful," Evelyn warned as the team prepared to open the door. The moment the seal was broken, a low rumble echoed through the ground. The air grew heavy, charged with an energy that made every hair on their bodies stand on end. Inside, the temple was pristine, as though untouched by time. At its center stood 5 massive statues, each depicting a figure of immense power. "Are these gods?" James whispered, awe replacing his skepticism. Before Evelyn could answer, the ground beneath their feet trembled. The statues cracked, golden light spilling out like liquid fire. One by one, the figures began to move. Evelyn stumbled back as the statues came alive, their forms shedding the stone like a snake discarding its skin. The air grew thick with a divine presence that weighed heavily on the team. From the first statue emerged a towering figure clad in robes of lightning. Zeus, his eyes sparking with electricity. Beside him stood Odin, his single eye gleaming with wisdom and foreboding, his raven familiars flapping into the air. Amaterasu, radiant as the sun, followed, her presence bathing the chamber in warmth. Quetzalcoatl, adorned in feathers and scales, seemed to ripple with ancient wisdom. Finally, Anubis, cloaked in shadow, stepped forward, his jackal head tilting as he surveyed the humans before him. The gods spoke, their voices reverberating in a language that seemed to transcend time. Evelyn and James could feel the words in their bones. "Who dares disturb our slumber?" Zeus thundered, his voice shaking the very walls of the temple. Evelyn stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. "We didn't mean to disturb you. We are researchers. We found your temple buried beneath the earth." Odin's gaze bore into her. "Mortals, once again meddling in what they cannot comprehend." Quetzalcoatl's tone was softer but laced with warning. "You have awakened us, but for what purpose? Your kind no longer believes in us. Without faith, we are but shadows of what we once were." Amaterasu glanced at her companions, her radiant glow dimming slightly. "The world has changed. It no longer remembers us." Anubis's voice was a low growl. "And yet we remain. Why?" The gods, though awakened, were weakened. Their powers were tied to belief, and in the modern age of science and reason, belief had all but vanished. As they emerged from the temple into the modern world, they were met with confusion and hostility. In Blackwater, the gods' presence caused chaos. The sky darkened, storms raged, and the townspeople grew fearful. The town's mayor called in authorities, but no one could explain the phenomena. The gods, too, were disoriented. Zeus marveled at the skyscrapers in nearby cities, his pride wounded as he realized humans no longer needed gods to build wonders. Odin wandered libraries, searching for traces of ancient knowledge, only to find his myths reduced to stories for children. Amaterasu wept as she watched the polluted skies, her light struggling to shine through. Evelyn and James became unlikely allies to the gods, helping them navigate the modern world. Together, they pieced together a troubling truth. The gods were not the only ones awakened. A dark force, long imprisoned, had also stirred, the primordial chaos that predated even the gods.